How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Lead Therapy, and thank you so very much for taking time for tuning in to my video. The ATF has no authority to conceal public guidance and then enforce it on unsuspecting Americans. Before I go further into the video, if you guys can do me a favor, and if you enjoyed this video, or if I gave you some information you didn't know, please take time to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the post notification bell. It helps the channel out, and it's greatly appreciated. In a letter sent last week to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland and ATF Acting Director Marvin Richardson, 20 senators called out the ATF for its practice of passing internal guidance and then enforcing it on an unsuspecting public. The letter specifically discusses ATF's recent crackdowns on solvent traps and force reset triggers. And this is from the letter that the 20 senators sent. In light of the above, we respectfully request that the U.S. Department of Justice and the ATF provide the following no later than March 25th, 2022. All internal instructions, directives, or guidance to any and all employees and/or contractors assigned to or working with the Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division, containing criteria, factors, or indicators to be used to make the determination of whether a solvent trap is classified as a silencer subject to regulation under the National Firearms Act. All internal instructions, directives, or guidance to any and all employees and/or contractors assigned to or working with the Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division, containing criteria, factors, or indicators to be used to make the determination of whether a force reset trigger is classified as a machine gun subject to the regulation under the National Firearms Act. Copies of all publications through which the ATF has made such guidance and criteria available to ATF agents, including all Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division technical bulletins issued regarding solvent traps and force reset triggers, including copies of each, an explanation as to how these bulletins are used by law enforcement, an explanation as to why documents with similar guidance have not been made available to the public. The ATF is charged by law with enforcing the nation's federal firearms laws and providing regulatory oversight of the firearms industry. ATF simply has no authority to conceal public guidance and then enforce it on unsuspecting Americans. The ATF must issue only those regulations authorized by Congress, provide notice of the proposed regulations, and then provide the American people with an opportunity to comment before a new rule goes into effect. As of the making of this video, March 25th is 4 days away, but we shouldn't hold our breath on a meaningful response from the ATF. But we certainly hope this gains traction. It's entirely unacceptable that folks who intend on being law-abiding citizens keep finding themselves at odds with surprise new ATF opinions. The law is the law, and random bureaucrats in an office in D.C. shouldn't be able to spring new and capricious interpretations, guidance, and rulings on an unsuspecting population, with often post-facto threats of criminal liability. I'm now going to put up on the screen the press release from Senator Chuck Grassley's office, so you guys can follow along with me. And the letter will have some of the things already covered earlier in the video. Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, joined Senator Mike Lee, Republican from Utah, and 19 of his colleagues in expressing concern over the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, use of internal guidance to enforce regulations that are unpublished and unknown to the public. In an alarming display of insufficient transparency from a federal agency, the ATF has used this secret guidance to justify the seizure of property. The senators raised concerns that these regulations, unknown to the public, could be unfairly used to target and prosecute law-abiding firearm owners and businesses. We write to express our grave concern over the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, ATF, continued pattern of enforcing secret guidance. The secret guidance was brought to our attention by those who have received recent threatening letters where the ATF makes blanket threats based on the recipient allegedly purchasing and possessing various firearms accessories, none of which are illegal based on any statute or regulation the lawmakers wrote. Our government, including the ATF, has a duty to inform Americans what they must do to comply with federal law. especially when the conduct involves the exercise of an enumerated constitutional right, and violations could result in a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. The use of a secret law is anathema to our system of government, the lawmakers continued. Grassley and his colleagues request that the Department of Justice and the ATF provide them with all internal instructions, directives, or guidance pertaining to these regulations, along with an explanation as to why these guidance has not been made available to the public. And they close it out by saying the ATF is charged by law with enforcing the nation's federal firearms laws and providing regulatory oversight of the firearms industry. The ATF simply has no authority to conceal public guidance and then enforce it on unsuspecting Americans. The ATF must only issue those regulations authorized by Congress, provide notice of proposed regulations, and then provide the American people with an opportunity to comment before a new rule goes into effect, the lawmakers concluded. As always, let me know your thoughts about the story in the comment section down below. And as I mentioned earlier on in the video, if you enjoyed this video, or if I gave you some information you didn't know, please take time to like, share, and subscribe, and hit those post notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next video.